WADR.
WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar and Bamako, 1 p.m. in Abuja. Many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on WADR.org. Welcome to NEWSLINK. Here are the top stories. Mali's transitional government expresses concern over MINUSMA's withdrawal, asserting control over national territory. Gambia's opposition parliamentarians walk out of National Assembly in protest against former president's bill.
On the former president's bill, we don't want to associate ourselves to anything that we feel will not be done for the best interest of the Gambians. Why do you want to increase the allowances that is there, 50,000 to be received by the former president, to allowance that should commensurate with the salary of the sitting president?
More on parliamentarian issues. Ghana's parliament calls for immediate allocation of funds for reopening of RENA unit at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
To call the minister responsible for health to come to this house and clarify why the outpatient department of RENA unit of Kolebu Teaching Hospital remains closed, and what measures have been instituted to ensure that the facility is reopened as soon as possible.
Stay with us for details of these stories and more.
Here is Abdullahi Hassan with NEWSLINK.
Once again, many thanks for joining us and a warm welcome to our listeners in the Gambia, Ghana and Liberia. We begin in Mali, where the transitional government, through its Ministry of Information, provided updates on the security situation in the country. The accelerated withdrawal of MINUSMA, which Mali authorities perceive as a betrayal, was among the key issues discussed on Thursday. Addressing the nation, Colonel Suleiman Dembele noted that the armed and security forces maintain control over every part of the national territory. Ogeberika has won this report.
The recent press briefing by Colonel Suleiman Dembele, the Director of Information and Public Relations for the Armed Forces, shed light on critical updates and challenges in Mali. The briefing highlighted the ongoing process of transitioning control of the UN missions bases within the country, signifying potential changes in operational responsibilities and security dynamics in Mali. Additionally, Colonel Suleiman Dembele addressed the operations carried out by the Malian Armed Forces, FAMAS, in their effort towards territorial reconquest, emphasizing the complexities of reclaiming territories in the region. With the Malian Armed Forces stationed approximately 100 kilometers from Kidal, a town controlled by armed groups advocating for independence, the situation underscores the delicate balance of power and potential conflict in the area. Colonel Dembele's abstention from commenting on the possibility of a Malian army offensive in Kidal leaves the situation open to further interpretation and raises questions about the strategic direction of military operations. The absence of a response from the NGO Human Rights Watch, which accused the regular Malian army and its Russian allies of perpetrating abuses against civilians, highlights the persistent concerns about human rights violations in Mali.
A report voiced by Ogeberika and filed in by WADR's Bamako correspondent Aliu Cham. More on security, a report released on Thursday revealed the deplorable security situation in Burkina Faso, where some 46 communities are currently under blockade due to insurgents. Amnesty International said many of these locations were besieged since July 2023. The resulting consequences of the siege are the intimidation, harassment, killings, and widespread abduction of women and girls. San Donald Mendy completes the story.
Titled, Death Was Slowly Creeping on Us, the report from Amnesty International sheds light on how armed groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State have progressively employed brutal tactics. It exposes the grim reality of war crimes and human rights violations in Burkina Faso, portraying the desperate situation faced by its citizens. During the report's launch, Ousmane Diallo, a Sahel researcher for West and Central Africa, described the impact of instability on over 46 towns and villages in Burkina Faso.
I mean, people are trying to live as best as they can, I suppose. Like those that can flee have fled. Those that are stuck there try to get supplies from the convoys that is organized by the government with the support of traders, but which are regularly attacked by the armed groups.
The report brings attention to dire circumstances in Ouagadougou, which are part of the broader armed conflict in the Central Sahel region that commenced in 2016. It underscores the devastating consequences of siege on the civilian population, leaving them trapped without access to essential services, livelihoods, and health care. Habibatu Gologo, the Deputy Regional Director in charge of campaigns, emphasized the report's recommendations and urged all parties to adhere to international humanitarian law.
Asking people, all the stakeholders, to respect the international humanitarian law and also provide access to humanitarian aid to all the people who are living in the cities or the villages under siege in Burkina Faso.
The report underscores the imperative for the international community to intensify its effort to ensure accountability for war crimes and human rights abuses, standing in solidarity with the people of Burkina Faso.
Sir Donald Mendy with that report. Meanwhile, members of the opposition in the Gambia's National Assembly staged a walkout from the chambers in protest against the former president's bill. The bill introduced by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice on an urgency certificate during the extraordinary session on Thursday has triggered controversy due to several contentious clauses. One such clause stipulates that a former president shall receive the same salary as a sitting president. For more details on this development, here is WADR's Sankule Janko in Banjul.
The National Assembly of the Gambia has approved the former president's bill 2023 despite a dramatic turn of events when opposition members staged a protest and walked out in opposition to the bill. This bill aims to repeal and replace the former president's office, allowances and other benefits Act of 2006. Proponents of the bill on the parliamentarian floor expressed their support for it.
The office of the president, actually, Honorable Speaker, is not a small-time office. That's a former head of state of the country. The dignity of that head of state, we must maintain, no matter what happens.
I truly welcome the former president's bill. Not only does it encourage a president to step down, but it also gives the president dignity that the president deserves after office.
However, the bill has sparked significant controversy due to the absence of term limits as a requirement to enjoy the benefits granted to former presidents. The bill stipulates that the government shall provide a former president with a monthly pension equal to the monthly salary of a serving president, payable for the remainder of their life. During a side press conference at the parliament, the minority leader, Alhaji S. Dabo, explained the reasons behind their decision to stage a walkout.
On the former president's bill, we don't want to associate ourselves to anything that we feel will not be done for the best interest of the Gambians. Why do you want to increase the allowances that is there, 50,000 to be received by the former president, to allowance that should commensurate with the salary of the sitting president? I'm not saying a former president should not be supported, but the support that should not be at the detriment of the Gambians. That's why we are saying the bill should be thoroughly looked into.
The bill's objectives and reasons as stated suggest that by making life after presidency reasonably comfortable, the benefits outlined in this bill would serve as an incentive for sitting presidents to willingly step down, thus encouraging any unwarranted extension of their time in power. For NEWSLINK-03 West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sankule Janko reporting from Banjul.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. NEWSLINK continues.
Remember, we are live on YouTube on WADR News. Elsewhere in Ghana, parliamentarians from both the ruling and opposition camps have urgently implored the government to allocate funds for the resumption of operations at the Rela unit of the renowned Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The hospital is located in the Greater Accra region. The outpatient department of the unit has remained closed for over 6 months due to insufficient funding. WADR's Nadi Titi in Accra reports that more than 50 kidney patients have reportedly lost their lives since the facility's closure.
The challenges faced by renal disease patients gained widespread attention in September when the Kolebu Teaching Hospital raised the cost per dialysis session by more than 100%. Although the hospital later revoked the decision, it meant that the outpatient unit was going to remain closed. The hospital cited an inability to afford the necessary dialysis consumables due to high taxes on these essential products. During a parliamentary statement, the Jaboso MP and minority spokesperson on health, Kwabna Minta Akando, who has been actively advocating for government intervention, urged the second deputy speaker, Andrew Isiama, to summon the health minister, Kwekwa Jimanmenu, to address the issue.
Mr. Speaker, I therefore call on this House, with your guidance, to call the minister responsible for health to come to this House and clarify why the outpatient department of renal unit of Kolebu Teaching Hospital remains closed and what measures have been instituted to ensure that the facility is reopened as soon as possible. I plead with this House.
Speaker, we want to implore you, and I think what I say represents a position of leadership, that the minister should be asked to come. Thursday, we must be in this House to brief us on happenings, and not just happenings, going to the future, what the thinking of the ministry is to show leadership.
Consequently, the second deputy speaker, Andrew Isiama, directed the health minister to provide a briefing to Parliament on the matter the following week on Thursday. In Ghana, approximately 5 million people live with various stages of chronic kidney disease, constituting 17% of the country's population. Of these 5 million individuals, around 300,000 are expected to reach end-stage renal disease, requiring either a kidney transplant or dialysis. Reporting for West Africa Democracy Radio, Nadidi Tete, Accra.
Now, the Nigeria Police Force says all is set for the upcoming governorship elections on November 11 in Bayelsa, Imo in the south, and Kogi State in the north central. The Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Gwabi Musa, has directed the deployment of soldiers with a strict emphasis on professionalism. Gwabi Musa, in his warning, stated that any form of collusion aimed at undermining the electoral process will face severe consequences. From Abuja, WADR's Usman Umar reports.
During his address to senior police officers attending an election management training in Owerri, the capital of Imo State, southeast Nigeria, Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetukun stated that preparations are complete for the police as the lead agency responsible for election security to be deployed to the 3 states.
We have been preparing for this election, and we have just a few days to this election. We have completed our deployment. We have completed all plans. We have crossed all our T's and we have dotted all our I's. We are fully ready for this election.
Chief of Defense Staff Christopher Musa, also in Owerri, held a meeting with the soldiers scheduled for deployment during the election, urging them to uphold professional conduct.
We must finish these idiots. The election is coming. The tendency is politicians will meet you and want to tell you one thing or the other, give you money. Don't allow anybody to deceive you. We are watching everybody. If we catch you, we could marshal them. Are we not tired of bad leaders? Yeah. So if we want good leaders, we have to make sure the election is free and fair so that people can vote who they want. Don't say you are not for Imo. It affects you. Everything that is raw, it affects the whole world, the whole country. So that's very important. Is that clear? Yes, sir. So I'm happy with all of you. You are putting in your best. Continue to do so. I don't want any acts of indiscipline. You don't have any reason to do that.
Earlier, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, expressed concerns about insecurity in Kogi and Imo states, citing potential security challenges that might hinder the commission from successfully conducting the polls. With over 4 million voters expected to participate in the gubernatorial elections across the 3 states, security remains a critical consideration for the electoral process. For NewsLink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
You are listening to NewsLink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM, Dakar, Senegal. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Mali's transitional government expresses concern over MINUSMA's withdrawal, asserting control over national territory. Gambia's opposition parliamentarians walk out of National Assembly in protest against former president's bill. Ghana's parliament calls for immediate allocation of funds for reopening of the Royal Unit at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Still ahead in the news is the guest interview and sports update. Please stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
As a reminder, we stream live on wadr.org. In Senegal, the Pasteur Institute in Dakar initiated the inaugural edition of the International Jobs and Careers Fair on Thursday. The primary objective is to bolster the workforce in areas such as bacteriology, scientific research, healthcare, and biology, among other fields. With over 200 job openings available, the event is aimed at attracting both Senegalese nationals and other young Africans. Sylvia Betted is in charge of research, innovation, and education at the Institute.
So basically, our mission is to convert pain into gain. So we want to use the energy and the transformative power of infectious disease to provide benefits for the country, for the populations, and for the communities. And for this, we need talent, we need resources, and we need visionaries. And this, for us, is a gold mine. All these young people, talented people that are visiting us, presenting themselves, asking questions, getting aware about what we are doing. We are trying to detect, attract, and hire the best among the best. The people who, on top of having a bright past, they will have a fantastic future. The people who will bring new talents, new energy, and new enthusiasm to this institute. Right now, it is in the range of 200, more or less, distributed into support, vaccine manufacturing, diagnostics, research, accountability, maintenance, human resources, project management, so a whole bunch of talents and competencies. And what we are really looking for is people who are able to surprise us. People that, on top of being excellent, they will bring something that we have not seen before. This is the essential and the most valuable competence we are looking for. So health is, for us, the most beautiful story in a society. It is touching every level of a society, from the patients, from the doctor, from the medical world, but also from the supply chain, from the accountability, from the Ministry of Health.
Politics, analyses on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest interview this afternoon takes us back to the Gambia, where opposition lawmakers on Thursday staged the walkout after the bill seeking better remuneration for the president after office was presented. There were arguments between the ruling and opposition lawmakers on the cost implications. Manyan is the executive director of the Gambia Participate, a civil society organization in the Gambia.
What I do believe, though, is yes, any former president that is free from criminal records and criminal prosecution or cases that are ongoing that could actually land them to jail should be given security of their premises, because they're still vulnerable to those that might not be happy with the way they were in office. So they need security. They also need mobility. And then also they need to have a gratuity, right? But now, what the bill is actually proposing, like an annual vacation with the wife of the president, that will be on the onus of that particular president. They are no more public servants, right? When they receive their gratuity, they should be able to use that money to fend for themselves. And if they have any vacation that they wanted to spend, they can actually use that money, maybe having a reasonable gratuity that they could use to fund their trips, but not the state taking care of any personal luxurious life that the president wants to live. No, I don't think that should be the case. But I believe that having a benefit after office should be the case.
So there are those who also have said that this bill was secretly sponsored by the sitting president.
This is what I believe, that the sitting president does not have the interest to serve a third term, because he, in so many fora, has mentioned and stressed that he is a big fan of term limits. Now they are working towards establishing something else that will benefit him life after office. And I believe in doing so, it's a good thing that it has been brought before Parliament. Now, the parliamentarians boycotted the bill, especially the oppositions, which I think was a very bad idea in the first place, because National Assembly members or Parliament are known to debate, right? Especially if you are a minority and then a bill is brought to the National Assembly and you boycott it, there's still going to be quorum for that particular sitting to proceed. Now, the ones that are there are the ones that are with the president. If they choose to go ahead and then legislate this bill as it is, then it becomes a big shame and a big disadvantage to the country.
Do you see in any way reconciling with the position in Parliament as a way, like you said, review also this time of remuneration of lawmakers in the Gambia?
The lawmakers increased their salary, right? And they did that in the 2023 budget by increasing their salaries and their benefits, especially for that of the speaker. They have done that, and they unanimously agreed to that particular increment. So there was another bill before this, which is the judges' remuneration bill. And those bill, or actually that bill, was also increasing the remuneration and benefits of the judges even after office. And they rejected that bill in its entirety. And this former president's bill also is introduced, and then we will be seeing so I think there's double standard in the way that the parliament has been operating. In a sense, any benefit that is coming to them, like they have a car allowance benefit recently, they all unanimously protected that interest, and no one is saying they should not have that. And they increased their salary. No one said they should not have that. But when you have other institutions like the judiciary bringing such, they rejected it.
If this is the start of many of proposals or bills on remuneration of office holders or the life of office holders after office, then what do you fear will be the state of the nation's economy, especially when there's a rise in inflation and prices of goods and services are on the increase, reportedly in the Gambia?
Well, poverty is hitting a lot of households in this country, and all of these benefits that are being given to the president, and most of it could actually be channeled to proper programs in the budget, right? Right now, our budget is, let me put it this way, without donor funds, right, development is not going to be realized in this country, because most of our developmental ambitions are tied to donor funds and then also loans, without which, if they are not committed, but as in transferred to the government, there's not going to be developmental projects being realized. So we have a serious problem that we need to work on, and I just our main priority right now, constitutional reform has not been working, anti-corruption measures have not been working. Basically, we need to coordinate. And I just, like I said, I'm not against the bill, but I'm against certain contents in the bill.
That was Amar Nyang, the executive director of the Gambia Participate, a civil society organization in the Gambia. It's now time for sports. Let's join Sam Kulejanko.
Hello there, warm welcome and thank you for joining us. Ghana international Jordan Ayew has signed a new contract extension with English Premier League club Crystal Palace, according to media reports. The Black Stars winger, who has made an impressive start to the new season, has reportedly committed his future to the London club until June 2025. The 32-year-old scored his first goal of the season against Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premier League, in addition to 3 assists so far. Ayew also won Palace's Player of the Month award for August. The son of former Ghana great Abide Pele Ayew expressed delight by extending his stay at the London club club. He was quoted as saying, "It feels great. I think everyone knows how much I love this club. I feel immense pride every time I put on the Palace shirt. This club is my home, and signing a new contract shows that." And Leslie Ogochukwu and his younger brother Chibuike Ogochukwu, who are nephews of retired Super Eagles defender Onyekachi Apam, remain committed to the French national teams, according to All Nigeria Soccer website. Both youngsters are eligible to play international football for Nigeria through their parents, but remain committed to the French teams. The older Ogochukwu represented France at the under-19 and under-20 categories, while his younger brother plays for the French under-16 side. Media report in Nigeria say Leslie is aiming to break into France's senior setup. And that's it for sports. It's back to you.
And that's a wrap up this edition of NewsLink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Christian Mukidi and Mustafa Sek for the technical support. Do interact with us via social media platforms, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, on Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio English Service, and stream live on WADR.org. I am Abdullahi Hassan. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to NewsLink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0, and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County. For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.